this pursuit again. Well, look at this. Look at this.
Let's see.
Oh.
Welcome to Viral Twist. A man on a bike was speeding like crazy, had no helmet or jacket, and ended up flying off after a cop gave him a surprise push. You won't believe how it ends.
Yeah, Juan and Susie, look at these insane speeds. I've seen up to 125 miles an hour with this motorcyclist here. I believe this started with the CHP. We just had heard them talking on the radio overhead that they've been requested for a motorcycle blasting down the westbound side of the 10, coming out of West Covina. And I mean, he's going so fast that everyone's having trouble keeping up with this guy, including us up here in SkyCal. There's no one under, oh no, whoa, it looked like he might have lost control there really quickly because he's going so fast on this off-ramp here. Let's see what the suspect decides to do. Kind of looking like they want to get off the freeway, maybe just doing a little psych out here. I hear the ground units talking, but there's a ground unit right there, actually a couple of them here. Wow. Let's see if this guy decides to keep running, and indeed speeding away from the units that had just caught up with him. So this is a dangerous one here, Juan and Susie, westbound on the 10 as we make our way through the San Gabriel Valley.
It's because of the speeds, right? It is going so fast on the freeway, a very different type of pursuit. You just obviously can't pit a motorcycle. That would be just, impossible. Sure. So is that right, Desmond? Are we really looking at 135 miles an hour, or is it just the distance?
We really, I know, Juan, we really are. We are pedal to the metal up here in SkyCal right now, trying to keep up with this guy. This guy is going about as fast as we can fly.
Wow.
Very, very close to our max speed right now. So, when you think about someone going this fast on a motorcycle with absolutely no protection, I mean, we all know some of the pursuits and how horribly they've ended because suspects decide to, literally put their life on the line to get away, that they were initially wanted for speeding. And just look at how quickly going by all this traffic so fast. If anyone makes any kind of move to get in front of this guy, I don't care how good of a rider he is, there's no way he's going to be able to avoid it. If there's some kind of debris in the roadway, that they're not going to have any chance to avoid either. And this is going to end terribly here. It's just blistering speeds here, 135 miles an hour. The ground units really not even making an attempt to catch up because it would obviously just be too dangerous for them. You see the spotlight from CHP's helicopter that's struggling to keep up with this one as well. This is one of the fastest pursuits I have ever covered.
They're tracking it from the air, and they're not relinquishing it right now. They're going to stay on top of it, as we've been seeing, as Desmond is talking about. We're talking about speeding down the freeway right now, and also perhaps something else. What else is this person running from? Yep. If it's just speeding, they could have just pulled over, and this would have never began, obviously. But it could be something else that they want to hide from authorities, obviously, and authorities are trying to get to them.
And Desmond, we're looking at your shot here. We got brighter streets right now. You can see the driver. Looks like he has a backpack on, a T-shirt, and a helmet. Not a lot of protection, as you were saying. If anything should happen here, the consequences could be deadly.
Oh, absolutely, and I think they're wearing a short-sleeve T-shirt as well. I mean, this has got to be insanely, uncomfortable. It's a pretty chilly night now in Southern California as well, and you're going that fast, and you've got a short-sleeve shirt on. At least if they were wearing, a jumpsuit or leather or whatever, motorcyclists wear. I'm not really too familiar with the motorcycle community, but we've all seen motorcyclists wearing kind of the full-body protection. That they at least would have some protection from road rash. But I mean, if you're going this fast and you crash, that's it. Bottom line, no matter how they wipe out on if it were to happen. So it is always a crazy thing to see. Mike had mentioned how it's almost become like a nightly ritual when we hear about CHP in the Baldwin Park area chasing a motorcyclist on the westbound 10. It's like deja vu. We hear this almost every single night, and almost every night that motorcycle steps on the gas and they get away. And it almost makes me wonder, like, is this the same guy who's going out here and like taunting CHP every night? Because it's literally almost every night of the week with the same agency in the same area that we see, or we hear anyway, about motorcycle pursuits. And usually it's over before we can even get SkyCal started because, like I said, they don't even attempt it because, these guys start driving like maniacs like this. So very peculiar. This one, though, the authorities do have eyes on. We have eyes on as well. Really just kind of by luck that they happened to be up in the air and that we weren't too far away either. But we'll see what, if anything, they want to do with this. I mean, they're going to keep watching from the air for now. They'll continue to do that. And we'll just have to see where this suspect ends up, if they're going to try to ditch. I think that was a CHP truck that was just in the left lane right there, maybe just by coincidence. But yeah, we are flying down the 710. I'll just be very curious to see where this motorcyclist ends up.
Yeah, that was one of the units who said, like, this guy had been going so fast for so long, he can't have that much gas in the tank. So that's kind of why they were trying to not lose him, because they didn't think he was going to last much longer. Now, I did just hear that they're asking the Sheriff's Department, because now we're in Compton, which is patrolled by the LA County Sheriff's Department. They want the Sheriff's deputies to be in position, be in the area. It doesn't sound like they want them to take it over, but they at least want them to be in the area, because, as you mentioned, Pat and Des too, when we get into these kind of neighborhood streets, it's always likely that there's going to be a foot bail or something where we get into a situation where they'll need a ton of units. So they've got Long Beach PD, because Long Beach will get further to the south. They want them ready, and they want the Sheriff's Department ready in case this ends in a foot bail. But, CHP didn't chase this on the freeways. They backed off because of speeds. I can't imagine that they'll chase it on surface streets, especially with him still going 70 miles an hour on surface streets here.
And certainly, as we mentioned, in a residential neighborhood. And I believe, from what we understand, the only want, or the initial want anyway, was speed, as far as we know.
Yeah, just speeding. I mean, we heard them run the plate. The plate didn't come back stolen, and they probably now know who at least the registered owner is, which, sometimes obviously helps them get an idea of where that motorcycle is registered to, what the address is, because then they can maybe say, okay, we're getting close to his house. But, we kind of came off the 105 and went south, and it looks like we're going back northbound now, right, Des?
Yeah, we were, but it just made a turn kind of at a weird intersection. Now going up to State and Redwood Street. There again, the CHP spotlight overhead. Oh, what are they doing here? Looked like it kind of slowed down going underneath the 105. Let's see if they pop back out. A very common pursuit tactic where, yep.
You think he's still there? Maybe ditch the bike?
I have to wonder if they did, Pat. You see the spotlight hanging out on the other side, and so many of these suspects now. This is what they're doing. They're going to places where they can evade the eyes up in the sky. Us as well as CHP. You see their spotlight. We kept the shot wide to see if we would see him come out.
What is that?
I have to wonder if they just ditched the bike and got out and walking away from the scene or something. Might have parked it right there in the center divider. They have not come out from underneath this one. You see CHP's spotlight looking frantically all over the place as well. Is that the bike right
no, he
there?
Just
Did he just come out or not?
Up. There he is. Okay. There, now we go.
Right there.
So came back out, tried a little maneuver there.
Spotlight is on him.
Fooled us for a moment. But we got it back here now on Imperial Highway at State Street, and thought maybe it was going to end. Tried a little maneuver there, but it continues.
Well, and I know you've probably talked about this in the last hour, but I'm just noticing that this person doesn't have on a jacket or coat of anything. They've got jeans on and a helmet
and a T-shirt.
Is that a T-shirt that they're wearing? I noticed I didn't see an outer jacket of any kind, and I'm wondering. Well, okay, we'll look at them.
It's just so risky to be going. I mean, 130 miles an hour on the freeway, Pat, and not even wearing a T-shirt here. Now, I will be curious. There are CHP units on Imperial trying to catch up with him right now. When he made that move under the bridge, that's when the airship said, okay, let's get a bunch of units in here. So I am listening to a unit that's coming up behind him on Imperial. So we'll be interested to see if they're able to catch up or how much involvement CHP wants to have on the ground.
West.
Hey, guys, because what can they do at this point? If you get out, you throw a spike strip if you can?
No,
because you're certainly not going to do any kind of pit maneuver on a motorcycle.
Yeah, and they wouldn't try to spike a motorcycle either. That would be, I think, just too much risk for the rider there. So, I mean, what they're doing right now with their helicopter is probably the extent of it. They're going to watch him, wait for him to run out of gas or run on foot or something like that. And the best they can do is try to have a bunch of units in the area to be able to catch up with him as soon as he kind of, gets off or ends or what have you here. But, I think he's kind of starting to realize the writing on the wall here. I mean, you tried that move onto the freeway. Now we're stopping at all the stoplights and kind of trying to follow the rules of the road here. But that night sun is not. Oh, look, there's the CHP unit behind him.
I see.
Let's see if they light him up. But I'm not unaware that everyone is still looking at him.
Well, you notice he turns around.
Yeah.
To see what's behind him, so he knows they are. Maybe he wants to see how close, or if
Look
you're
at him,
right, if ground units have actually picked up this pursuit again. Well, look at this. Look at this.
Let's see.
Oh,